Hi, this is Dean with MaxiLift, coming to you from the comfort of my dining room. I'm not able to go out and visit customers on their job sites right now, but I did have a millwright ask me a couple of months ago a question about mounting buckets on a belt. Now you'll see I don't have a belt here, but I do have a display stand with one of our buckets. And his question was, do you have a good way of mounting elevator bolts without using a lock washer or a standard lock nut or a nylon lock nut? And I suggested double nuts. And he said yes, he'd heard of that. And I said, well, there's a better way to do it. Some ways can be done it that don't really do any good. Let me show you first of all, if you use a standard nut, there's no locking capability on a standard hex nut. But if you use a flange nut, it does have serrated bottom, and so it does have a locking capability, just not nearly as aggressive as a lock washer or a nylon lock nut or a standard lock nut. Now you'll notice here that I have two elevator bolts mounted. One has the flange nut next to the washer, one has the flange nut on top of the nut. Notice here when I put on my wrench, if we have the impact lined up, the bottom one is tight, the top one can actually still be loose. And it actually could be on there fairly snug, but if your impact gets mounted over top of both of them, the top nut is not doing any good and actually will come off and cause problems. So if you double nut, it doesn't do any good if you use two hex nuts and the top one is not tight. If you use a regular flange nut and a hex nut on top and it's still not tight, it doesn't do any more good either. But if you have a hex nut and you put the flange nut on top, then it is mounted solid on there. Both nuts are mounted solid. The flanged or serrated bottom on the flange nut will hold it into place on the hex nut and it'll keep it locked into place. So there's an idea for you to consider. Many millwrights have gone this route. I look forward to hearing from you as to if this has worked for you. Let me know. Good luck out there. Everyone stay safe. Until next time, this is Dean with MaxiLift. Thank you.